Am I the asshole for lying about my wife having fertility issues? Update. Original post. So, it's been about 3 months since the incident in the post. Our daughter is still the most precious girl in the world, and my wife was very complimented by a few of the commenters. Even though, at the end of the day, I don't think it was wrong to refer to it as fertility issues, I apologized to my sister once she cooled down anyway. She's been going through a lot. Sometimes things aren't about being right so much as they're about family. Thanks to everyone who told us we had nothing to apologize about, though. My sister forgave us, and we hugged it out. She even apologized about telling her she was appropriating issues, which honestly offended me the most, but that wasn't the end of it. My wife couldn't get rid of this nagging feeling that maybe something could go wrong again and my sister or her husband would tell my parents, so she told me she wanted to come out to them. It was a hard decision for us, because I love them and I was terrified they would disown me and spread gossip about her, but, what can I say? My wife owns me lol. It's her over everyone else for me. She kept getting scared every time we agreed we were going to say something, and it ended up coming out when my mom was telling my wife how much I cried when I broke my arm. She said the most she ever cried was getting a soccer ball launched into her balls. I love my wife. She had to explain it a bit to them, and they're still a little uncomfortable. But nothing has really changed. At first, they were horrified, but they always really liked her and I guess they couldn't just erase that, especially after she explained her situation to them. If anything, I'd say she's made them a bit more open-minded. And I actually got my sister and her husband looking into adoption. Everybody wants a daughter like ours. Anyway, thanks for the advice, everyone. I hope this update makes everybody's day a little brighter. I'm imagining her on the soccer field vowing, never again. I remember your last post. Very brave of your wife and congrats on it working out. I missed the original, but I'd say you made the best decision. Sometimes you apologize, not because you did something wrong, but because you want to make something right. I'm so happy things are working out for you and your family. She said the most she ever cried was getting a soccer ball launched into her balls. Coming Out Champion 2021. Top update, glad it worked out for you and your wife and it did indeed make my day a little bit brighter. Oh gosh, I'm so happy to see a positive update. I remember seeing the original. Especially thrilled to hear that your parents accepted your wife's transness. It's always so scary coming out to historically conservative, bigoted people, especially parents. Sending so much love to your family, both immediate and extended. Have a great spring. In response to the original post, as someone who is going through IVF and had a miscarriage, I think your sister is being selfish and irrational. Your wife is a woman, she was born without the means to reproduce, making her a woman with infertility. She did not choose to be born in the wrong body. Any couple who is not able to have children on their own, whether they be gay, lesbian, transgender, is suffering with fertility issues. As someone in a cis-straight relationship struggling with infertility, I feel for all couples who can't conceive no matter the reason. None of it is a choice. I also think it is nobody's business why you made the decision you made to adopt. Adoption is a wonderful thing. Updates like these are so nice to read after all the stories of conflict on this sub. Glad to hear it is working out so well op. Your wife is my goddamn hero LMAO. I think this is quite an amazing update. Also the surprise twist of your sister looking into the adoption route. Not being able to carry your own child doesn't make you less of a woman, nor does popping out a kid a year make you more of one. I hope she adopts as many kids as she wants and they grow up with all the love she has to give. In the future you could always say due to a medical issue when she was younger your wife is unable to get pregnant. You wouldn't have to go into details and it would say the same thing without claiming y'all went through a process similar to your sister. Glad to see everything worked out. So happy to see it. Such a good example of you don't apologize for intentions, you apologize for impact. Both of you hurt each other and apologized for the hurt even though neither had bad intentions. Major kudos to you and your wife for taking the high road and working it out with your sister. Also, you, your wife and your daughter sound like an awesome family filled with love, so this update made me very happy. Please don't hold anything against your sister. As someone who faced multiple rounds of IVF and around 14 miscarriages, I can tell you that it was the darkest years of my life. I was in constant emotional pain. I felt I couldn't breathe from the pain, and it got worse with each loss. And the medications I took were rough on my body and mental state. And I was lucky. With our first actual IVF cycle, we did 3 IUI cycles prior, I got pregnant. It was after giving birth to my first that the shit got the fan, so to speak. I had a baby I could hold, but it was still exhausting. You were not the asshole for saying what you did, but I don't think your sister was either. It sucks being where she is. I hope she gets her own baby soon. I want to hug your whole family. So glad it worked out. Your wife sounds like one hell of an amazing woman. Warm wishes to your sister in her journey to being a mom, whatever path she is able to take. Has your sister apologized for saying you and your wife chose to not have kids naturally by her being trans? Love the update. Thanks op. Okay, I see why you love your wife. I'm glad it worked out well for you all. Delightful update, thank you so much for posting. Sometimes things aren't about being right so much as they're about family. Ain't that the truth? And speaking of truth, it has a way of coming out when you least expect it. I remember your post, and what hit me then was your sister saying, "You chose it." Heartbreak. You don't choose who you fall in love with, nor did your wife choose to be born in the wrong body. She was born without a womb, and I would most definitely call that a fertility issue. I'm glad you worked it out with your family, and I'm so impressed with your wife's strength and courage. Read your post and still don't think you were the awe. Technically you were right. But it's your sister, and I get why you apologized even though you shouldn't have had to. God dude, your wife is a fucking badass LMAO. I would not have the balls to come out like that for real. Congrats on your little one. I love your wife. I am at work, trying to be covert, and I snorted. This is significant other sweet. Your love for your wife, daughter, and sister just radiates through this post. I'm so happy everything worked out for you guys. Wishing you all the best of luck moving forward. I'm glad things are all right now. You are brave for coming out to your parents. I wish you the very best. I remember your last post, it was my first warning from the mod for lack of civility. I am glad you and your sister have mended your relationship, as much as what she said sucked. Great update, but more importantly, congrats on your beautiful family. You seem like a great family, and your daughter is going to grow up very loved. I'm in awe of your wife's strength to be able to come out to your family like that, knowing that so much was on the line, and you're wonderful for being there to support her no matter what the outcome. OMG, the way she came out? Hilarious. I'm really glad to see that everyone's doing okay, that your sister and you are cool, and that your parents are accepting your wife for all the details of who she is. It's really just nice to hear a story with a happy resolution. I wish you all the luck and happiness. Excellent outcome, this makes me happy. Good way to start my day. Best wishes to you and yours. She said the most she ever cried was getting a soccer ball launched into her balls. I love my wife. LMAO, I love your wife too. That was awesome. And here's trans me just tearing up. You're an amazing husband, and she's a lucky woman. And you're a lucky man. Your wife sounds hilarious. I love how much you love your wife. You are a very caring and loyal partner. I actually got my sister and her husband looking into adoption. Holy shizzles, this couldn't have gone better. As I read your first post, I was thinking she should have just adopted. Rolling on the floor laughing, and your parents are great for accepting your wife. Smiling cat with heart eyes heart. Your wife sounds amazing, especially to just drop that bomb so casually lol. I'm happy for you all that things are working themselves out and that a happy resolution was reached. All the best. What an amazing outcome all around. Genius way to tell them. As a trans woman, this is the type of update I like to see. Your wife is amazing. People throw around brave a lot, but she actually is strong and brave and with a very healthy sense of self. Amazing. I guess when you go through so much, you come out stronger. I've been having a really rough week. My grandfather died last Sunday, and this post made me feel a little better and made me smile. Thank you. Just read your first post and wanted to say that this wasn't something you chose. Your wife is having fertility issues. They just stem from being born in the wrong body. Nothing about being transgender is a choice. Nobody would say, I'm perfectly content as a man, but you know what sounds like fun? Multiple invasive surgeries, living on hormones and being discriminated against. It's deep-seated that her brain is female, her anatomy just didn't match it. I need to meet your wife. I absolutely lost my shit laughing for a solid 5 minutes before being able to finish reading Tears of Joy. Not the asshole. You didn't do anything wrong. Your sister decided to make it about her. It would be an issue of fertility if your wife could not physically get pregnant. I wish it wasn't so. Expect for women to have children. Then issues with fertility wouldn't be so stressful and exhausting for everyone. It wouldn't be personal every time it's brought up. Because it literally had nothing to do with your sister. Reading this and your last post, I'm honestly impressed. It's a very brave move, and depending on where you live, i.e. your most common culture, it can be extremely difficult broaching that subject. I'm embedded pretty deep in the South, and just admitting that a trans woman is beautiful would be quite the scandal. And if I married a trans woman, I'm fairly certain a good portion of my family would disown me. Of course, this might not be as much of an issue in other parts of the country, but either way, you two are heroes. This entire scenario sounds like a hornet's nest of potential problems, but you folks handled it like champs. Hopefully shit will be a little easier in 40 years because of decisions like this. This is so lovely. Treasure your precious little family always. You guys sound amazing. I'm glad you and your sister were able to reconcile. I'm glad your wife coming out as trans worked out. And I'm glad your sister decided to look into adoption. I hope she finds a child she loves as much as you love your daughter. Glad everything is working out. I'm a cis woman and my husband is a trans man. I met him after social transition. He passes really well and he's pretty open about his gender identity, but he's also rather private, so no screaming it from the rooftops, lol. We often use fertility issues as one of the explanations when asked why we haven't had kids. Another is that I will never ever willingly pass on my family genetics, but that's another conversation altogether. Yes. So wholesome. And so happy for you. Your wife sounds awesome. And I agree that this is a type of infertility, not the same type that your sister is experiencing, but still infertility. At the very least it's social infertility. Much love to you and your wife and your sis. That may be my favorite coming out story ever.